Okay, how are my levels?
A little hot.
A little hot? Sorry about that.
It's all right.
How about this? Better now?
That's because of his Latin heritage. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and moms and dads, here we are once again at the Squares of the Round Table podcast. Yay! 2021, folks. And of course, with me now is the incredible, the intelligent, and often
misunderstood
Mr. Mike. And then we've got the extraordinary, the not bashful, the Effersenuous and profound Jeff. And then you got me. Hey everybody, how we doing?
I don't know. I have to go look up what Effersenuous means.
Now we're doing good, I suppose. We're here.
Yes,
we made it.
I'm doing great.
We crawled across the finish line and made it to the new year.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I had a really good New Year's. I had the 30th and 31st off. I had 2 days off in a row. I'm like, yes, thank goodness. And I just did a whole lot of nothing.
There you go.
But New Year's Eve, watched a bunch of TV and got drunk watching TV. New Year's Eve. Finally watched Moana.
And?
Oh, yeah?
It was good.
And
It was all right.
What you think?
It was good.
It was okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. I was not put down by it. I was like, yeah, it's about what I expected.
It did not leave you aback.
No, it's not one of my, like I said, it was great visuals as most of these Disney films are. And it was nice, it was a cold day, we got some snow after Christmas, and it was nasty too. It was just like chunks of ice everywhere now. It's a mess. So it's nice to watch a TV and actually feel the warmth of the sand and the ocean and the palm trees and the sun through the television. It was good though. It was interesting. I liked the musical bit with the crab. I like that one. And just couldn't believe that, now it's a meme now, the You're Welcome from the Dwayne Johnson song, The Rock.
Uh-huh.
And he did a good job singing. It's the first time I've seen the film.
Oh, he used to sing in the dub. He used to sing in wrestling all the time. I mean, I'm serious when I say that. He used to do like there were quite a few bits where he would do like there was one night where literally he was like one of the features was they called it the Rock concert with him and a guitar and him like singing lyrics, and it would be it was pretty funny. There have been times where it's like him and Stone Cold like singing, having beers, and next thing you know, Stone Cold stuns him in the next week. I mean, that stuff's like, I was not shocked when I saw that movie that it was like, oh, The Rock can sing. I think there's a lot of people who might have been. Right. I think there are a lot of people who fall into your category, Mike. Don't feel bad. I think there are a lot of people who do. But anybody who's watched him wrestling was like, oh no, that guy he can sing too. Yeah.
That's the only it's the only memorable song from that movie though.
Yeah. Well, no, there's another one.
I did like the crab song.
Here's the other one where it's like she sings that one song.
The one that's almost like the kind of the. I don't know. It's like the kind of like "This Is Me" or whatever. I don't remember.
The same song you hear in Frozen and all
right.
the other ones.
Yeah, it's that one empowering song. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that everybody's like, oh.
And I caught it right away that her dad is the voice of Jango Fett, or vice versa.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was cool. I finally watched that. So I said, bounced around a lot on New Year's Eve. Just watched a bunch of movies. Watched Black Panther. Was on TNT, so I watched that New Year's Eve. Watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Which version?
Willy Wonka, the Gene Wilder from '71. Okay. Because the Johnny Depp one is called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, based on the book. Yes.
Okay.
Because Gene Wilder wanted top billing, so they changed the title of the film based on the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But that was from '71, so now that movie is 50 years old.
Yeah. And the thing about it was with, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, they took a lot of elements from the book out.
Yeah, because of budget and the CGI at the time, like they switched the squirrels to the golden geese because they couldn't make the squirrels work, I guess, or something like that. They were just going too costly or just too cokey to make the squirrels work.
Well, not only that, the fact was that the book, that Depp later, did in his movie is more closer to the book. It's more dark.
Yeah, it is. It is a pretty dark story.
It's a dark, brooding story, much like in the way of like Grimm's fairy tales. I mean, you've read them as and parents reading them to their children and everything. Oh, they're so nice and everything. But if you were to read the real thing, they're very dark.
Dark, so dark.
No, seriously,
I know.
They're very dark. They're very dark, and just you think to yourself, my God, how did anybody just go ahead and then have it still be relevant to this day and not, give way to the origins of these stories?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So what else did I watch? What else did I watch?
What else did you watch?
Watched the ball drop in Times Square. So fine. And J-Lo did a little performance or something.
What'd he do?
Yeah, I think she sang.
Hey, depending on what she's doing, that's okay with me.
Yeah,
anything with her is okay with you.
Yeah.
She could sit there and sell cheese to you, and
she sang "Dream On." From
Depends on how she's saying she.
No, what Jeff is trying to say is, depending on how she's dressed, maybe it don't make a whole lot of difference what she's singing.
At the end of the bit, she took her coat off, and we got to see a little bit of cleavage. That was about it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're going to take her clothes off. I was going to be like, oh, maybe I did.
No, she didn't even do that in the freaking stripper movie. And she's a stripper.
You got gypped.
You were spoiled a bill of goods for that film.
You know what? It wasn't a bad film. It was just, I do kind of laugh because it's like, it was a good film. It wasn't good enough to get nominated for the things that they thought it should, but it was a good film. At the same time, I do laugh how like none of the main characters ever had like no clothes on.
Right. It's not like Showgirls where they're all in, and they got kind of typecast by it.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. You're freaking J-Lo, okay? You could pull the same thing that Demi Moore pulled years ago when she did I can't remember what the hell the name of that movie was, where she's the stripper and literally they gave her
Striptease.
Is it striptease? What was I can't remember how much they supposedly gave her a bonus because they were like, yeah, we need you to we need you to be like topless. And she was like, here's my price. Here's my price. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Or
but the thing about it was that it was photographed in a way that you really didn't get a whole lot of Demi Moore in the whole reality of it. Not for what they paid.
Enough.
No. That full on one shot where she throws the bra off. Especially if you freeze frame that, and I've seen people do it, where they freeze frame that and put it next to...
Because he's got that as a screensaver on his computer.
No. I just remember people talking about this because people were talking about it at the time, which is if you take that and you put it opposite About Last Night, you can tell she had the boob job. I mean, you just can tell. Because she's like, there's nothing, there's a mountain, I mean, there's that, but,
And there's this.
Let's see, what else have I been doing? Watched Earthrise on Netflix. It was just, you gotta watch it at 1 1/4 speed. I mean, the dialogue is just so slow, so stunted.
I don't even know what that is.
Earthrise, the new Transformers, animated.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about... sorry, my bad.
Same group that did Rooster Teeth, the same people that did that Ruby anime. But they did the Transformers Netflix, and they did the first one, Siege, and then this one's called Earthrise. But it doesn't really have anything to do with Earth. So.
Well, I was going to say, the one thing I remember is I know one thing you did.
Yes.
I know one thing you did over the weekend.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
And let's see, got my stimulus, so hooray.
Yeah, me too.
Got some of my money back, so congratulations to me.
Now I can basically wipe my butt.
Yeah, go stimulate. Let's see what else. Like I said, New Year's is over. Had a good New Year's Day. New Year's Day had to work, and yeah, we busted our chops with selling salt and everyone breaking their snowblower because they don't know how to. You know that these things are made to pick up snow, not 2-inch thick chunks of ice, and so all their snowblowers get broken, and they all come in saying, "It broke. When can I get it back?" It's like February.
Never.
Because
never.
Actually, we had 10 machines that came in over the weekend, so we got to all send those to the other store and get them fixed. So yeah, a lot of that. People don't.
That's when you get like a blowtorch and be like, ha ha!
Yeah, just get a flamethrower. Spaceballs the flamethrower. That'll look.
Yeah, we need that drone.
Yeah,
that's
we need
you need the drone.
Shout out to
drone,
those great guys on News of the Squared podcast. That's a way better show.
You say so.
Wait a minute, that's us. Oh, wow.
Wait a minute. What are you doing here, Dan?
I'm just praising the cast of the News of the Squared.
Yeah, okay.
It's like the same fuckers who are on this show.
Yeah. we don't pay them, but we'll praise them.
Yeah. And January 1st, the Netflix series Cobra Kai Season 3.
Yay.
And I'm 8 episodes in. I got 2 more to go. And it's good.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people are saying Season 3 gets a little corny, and I could see why they do that. But I tell you, it's the same vibe as Seasons 1 and 2, and it's 80s nostalgia, teen drama, lots of drama, and it has that same feel as the Karate Kid.
I heard What's Her Name shows back up.
Not yet. I'm like I said, I got 2 episodes to go, but the girl who was the girlfriend in Karate Kid 1.
Right, that's Elizabeth Shue.
Right, exactly.
And if you've never seen Leaving Las Vegas, you need to, because even though it's the only time Nicolas Cage actually acts for a living.
Leaving Las Vegas. Yes.
Oh my God, Elizabeth Shue is so hot. So hot.
I'm a dog.
My God. I mean, I've been lusting after her since Adventures in Babysitting. Okay, that's how far back. I mean,
that's his secret wife when he dreams.
That's a good '80s movie, and I've not watched it from start to finish ever.
Really?
Of all the years I've watched bits and pieces on cable,
I haven't either.
I've never seen Adventures in Babysitting from start to finish.
That's a good movie. That's a solid movie.
It's '80s. And this is 80s. Like, the guy who plays Johnny, like, he's such a clod. He's a relic of the 80s. He doesn't know anything about social media or the internet. Like, he turned in his laptop. He turned in his laptop at the pawn shop, and he's like, "Yeah, this thing died on me." Well, yeah, did you recharge it? It's like, you said it was wireless. It's like just slightly above the tech savvy that I have. So.
Wow.
But,
even I know that's not what that means.
Yeah. Okay, I don't even go down that route.
But it has that lightheartedness, and it's like I said, it gets a little soap opera-y, but it's still very enjoyable, especially because Danny and Johnny are like my age, so it's really good. I enjoy it, and I'll finish it. You should. You should at least watch the first episode. The first episode will give you the whole synopsis of what this is about, and I don't want to I'm not giving out any spoilers, not till next week. So I'm just looking for it. I got 2 more to go. Had I not taken a nap after work today, I would have finished it. I'm probably going to finish it either right after we're done recording tonight or tomorrow. So I'll have it, the full season 3 synopsis next week.
All right. That sounds good.
Yeah. So Jeff, how was your New Year's?
I got to tell you, it was slightly busy. So, I found out at the last minute on the 31st that there was a virtual Moth event out of Burlington, Vermont, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll go hang out. I'm like, hey, maybe I can speak. And they're like, oh no, we don't have any speaking slots available, but you can come watch. I'm like, okay, sure. And on a whim I mentioned, I'm like, hey, just, but in case you need a speaker, I'm here just to be safe. I haven't shaved. I'm like wearing a t-shirt and shit, and they're like reading off like the next 5 names after the break. They're like, here are the next 5 speakers, blah, 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 Jeff Stein, blah, blah, blah. Wait, what? Crap.
No.
I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, somebody's speaking and I'm like, okay, time to go shave.
At least you're not like Ivan, you didn't have a shirt on.
Oh no, I had to shave, I had to switch shirts, and then P.S., I have to have a speech that fits the theme of, like, courage, and I'm, like, sitting here going, okay, what story am I telling? I have no clue. Literally, like, 5 minutes before I go on, I'm like, I still don't know what story I'm going to use. And I'm like, all right, I think it's this one. And it's funny because I thought I might have had it, and then I was the second to last speaker, and I thought I might have had it. I thought I might have won. And the person right behind me tells a real tearjerker story, and I'm like, I'm done. And it was a pretty good field because I knew a few people in the field, and I'm like, damn. So I have now done my second ever Moth, this time up in Burlington, Vermont, and it was funny because they were like, yeah, feel free to come back. We'd love to have you again. Okay, great, sure. So I did that on early in the afternoon, and then in the evening, what did we end up doing? I can't remember what we ended up doing for food, but I ended up watching. Binge watching Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes finally has gotten her first Netflix show on Netflix. I guess it just debuted here in the last few weeks. Bridgerton. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. So Bridgerton is and after a while. And by the way, just to be clear, this is after Shonda Rhimes signed some insane Netflix deal like a couple of years ago. And, like, this is, like, the first of her shows that she's doing for them. So, Bridgerton's based in, I want to say, I guess the best way to put it is, like, Victorian England times. Okay. And it's all about, like, the, society kind of stuff.
Well, the
about
caste
the
system?
Well, more about courting and marriage proposals and that kind of stuff, and the courting season,
social graces.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay. And in the meantime, there's somebody who that essentially acts as kind of like the one who stirs a lot of the pot. A character who we're not supposed to know who it is, who's voiced by Julie Andrews, which is called Lady Whistleblower. And I'm like...
Lady Whistleblower, interesting.
Yeah. And she does like a gossip rag. And so that's kind of what gets pushed through. And everybody reads it. And then there's a lot of different pieces of it where it's intrigue or this and that. The best way I can explain this show is 2 ways. One, it's Victorian Gossip Girl. I don't know if you remember that show, Gossip Girl, from the CW.
I remember Gossip Girl, yeah.
It's pretty much fucking Gossip Girl, except back in Victorian England.
I see.
And the other thing is, it's like, obviously Shonda Rhimes has wanted to write softcore porn for women for quite some time, or write a Harlequin novel, because I swear to God, is essentially what I spent eight episodes watching, because I'm like, at times I'm like, okay, Shonda's been wanting to write this shit for a while, I can tell. It's like, can't write this shit on Grey's Anatomy, so...
no.
Can't write this crap on network TV. Not bad. So yeah, like I said, I'd give it either 3 to 3 or 5. Yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. It's not bad. It's just, look, if you're looking for soapy shit, that's what it is. I get a lot of.
Great way to put it. Soap and shit. How can they? I know soap washes away shit, but you know.
Well, I mean, when I say soapy shit, I mean like the soap opera stuff. You know.
Oh, okay,
like,
yeah, okay.
Like your Grey's Anatomy's.
It's soapy shit.
Yeah, that kind of stuff where it's
Okay,
a little bit more female,
all right.
and it's more female focused, no question. Which
Woman
half the
happy?
reason why you watch it is just because it's like, if you're a single guy, do women watch your macho shows? No, they watch these things. Be smart.
Yeah.
If you can talk about that, there's a good chance you can get, well, anyway. I'm not gonna go that far. It's like friends of mine who are like, why would you go to the George Michael concert? Why would you not go to the George Michael concert? Have you seen how many women there are there?
Yeah, pop music icon. Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, this was like back in the 90s. It's like, I can't believe you went to a George Michael concert, man. It's okay. You mean like where all the hot women are like practically half naked because they all want to do George Michael?
Just like back in like the mid 90s, there was a fundraiser for a country music DJ who lost his life, and his wife was widowed and kids or orphan or whatever. So they had a fundraiser for him at the Allstate Arena, and Billy Ray Cyrus was the headliner. And I'll never forget when he finally comes on stage, and this one older woman, she would have been older by my standards back then, but she just yelled, "Take your shirt off!"
Yeah.
That's why you go to those concerts.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean...
You never know.
You get lucky enough to have some other woman tell you to take your shirt off.
Hey, well, yeah, if you're sitting in the right part of the arena, and if you've done the right thing,
she sees you enjoying the same music. You know.
Yeah, she's dancing along. You halfway dancing along with her. The next thing you know,
you're in the same place, and it's warm and it's sweaty, and you got bodies everywhere. Don't tell me 2 minutes. You're going to be like, ooh, this could get interesting. I've gotten lucky a lot.
Oh, no, right. That's when you end up in someone else's, you sitting there going, where the fuck am I this morning? What the hell happened?
Oh, now I remember.
It's like, and then you're like, I was pretty drunk. Oh my God, I was pretty drunk. Never mind.
Yeah, especially if her mouth is wide open and she's looking like she was screaming, and you're kind of like, oh my God, what did I do with that?
There have been the other times where I've heard that. Now, in fairness, there have been the other times where I've been in the reverse situation. She's like, oh my God, I was with him? Yeah, you were with me.
Well, I'm not going to do that to you, though. Anyway,
no, I'll do it to me. I have no problem with admitting it. There have been times where it's like I've kicked out of my coverage because someone was drunk, and I got lucky. Absolutely, that's happened. That's happened. Where the next morning the person's like, "What was I thinking?" And I'm like, well, did you have a good time? Yeah, I think so. No. Okay. What are you complaining about?
Okay, which one of us buys breakfast?
Yeah, it's like the one time. It's like the one time I'll never forget this. I had a stripper who, we were kind of having a good time, and I'm like, we should get together later. And she's like, yeah, give me one good reason why I should hang out with you later after hours. I said, I like to eat. Next words out of her mouth, no lie. We close at 3 a.m. I'm in the parking lot at 3:15.
All right.
That's awesome.
I'm going to go take a nap. I'll be back.
Mike, this is why I love this man, okay?
All right.
Put that in your Moth speaking catalog.
Okay.
No, that's a 99-second story possibility.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
for sure. I gotta be careful with that one though, because see, the problem is like some of this stuff, like with Toastmasters, you can't tell these stories.
Ugh.
They're like,
Dave.
oh, you can't talk about stuff like that.
They're too prudish.
Oh my God, are they prudish?
Oh, forget it,
Oh,
man. I wouldn't stand 2 minutes in one of those places, man. Are you kidding?
Oh no, I mean, no,
Are you
it's
kidding?
not that.
Oh my God, I'd probably be kicked out of I'd probably be, kicked out to the curb, man. Probably first minute I was in.
I swear.
Speaking
like
of being
for-
kicked out,
Huh? Okay.
how did you kick out 2020, Ivan?
How'd I kick out 2020? Okay. Well, I kicked out 2020. Well, having done the best Christmas music you've never heard on Twitch for Christmas, that was cool. Sending it out to everybody. We got to air our specials. It was a Wonderful Weave and Batman and Jimmy Save Christmas. I mean, that went worldwide. That was great. What a rush. We got a lot of people actually, checking it out. And, then with 2020, I stayed on for New Year's all the way to the last time zone because I have people who listen to my my casting, my Twitch cast, and in several different time zones. So and it was crazy because I also had people calling me on New Year's night, okay, saying, "Hey, are you spinning tonight? We're up here in Rockford. We need some Motown." This is my friend Jethro and his fiancee Janet, and they're calling me up and like, "We're so wasted, but we need some tunes. Nobody's playing any Motown." I'm like, "Okay."
Is this last name Tull or Clampett?
Neither one.
Want some music from Mr. Drysdale?
Anyway, no, he's a famous.
I'm sorry. When you tell me that you have a friend named Jethro.
Well, Jethro, yeah. Well, he goes by Jethro. That's his name. So
say hi to Granny for me.
He's a British guy. He's a famous dancer. That's a whole nother episode. But anyway, so I go ahead and I start spinning after doing my initial broadcast on Spinning Wheel, and then I also did a broadcast on the new page we just ended up starting up with Jazz and Blues with a little rhythm and blues with the Crazy Mod new page. We just started that Friday. So after I got done with all of that, then I jumped on that bandwagon, and then after I did the Motown stuff, and came into 2021 with all Motown music, then I decided, well, I still got people on the West Coast still, not having met up with 12 o'clock yet. So I decided to do a Rivera Random Records, and then I stayed on till 3:30 in the morning. I mean, and it was just one big wild party, man. It was great. I mean, I love doing the Rivera Random Records because it's not that I have to figure out the next song after the next song after the next song. I can just put one record on, just shoot the shit, talk to the people on the chat and just, kind of revere and all the stuff that they're doing. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing, going on, that whole Rivera Random Records thing that I'm doing now, which is really cool. I like that a lot because I think it's a more personal experience. And Glenn Hall said it best. He said, every time you go to Rivera Random Records, it's more like a party than a set. Because it is, I mean, I got my Mai Tai glass, a lot of people are trying to figure out what I'm drinking, and, I got my pipe with me and I just imbibe and everything like that. We just let it all hang out and it's really cool. And in fact, a few of the guys on the page now have started talking about wanting to get t-shirts made up for the Rivera Random Records. They're like, man, you need to get a t-shirt. And I'm thinking, I've been on several t-shirts already, but yeah, why not one more? So we'll see what happens with that. And so, yeah, brought in 2021, blazed into 2021, both figuratively and literally blazed into 2021. Oh my God. And then the following day, it was like, I was hurt. I mean, I think I slept for like 11 hours.
Jeez.
But that was because I whooped up, man.
I was asleep by 1. I had to go to work at 10, so at least I had a full 8 hours to sleep it off.
Yeah. No, I was busy. I was partying, man. I was partying hard, because because I'm spinning records and there are people listening and people are digging it. And I was just like, yeah, all right. This is, it's my life, and enjoyed it very, very much. And then, afterwards, got to, hang out with Soraya, and, brought in some more merriment over the last couple of days. And yeah, it's been great. Everybody, I got to touch upon everybody in the family at one point or another throughout the course of the night. And that was satisfactory. I mean, I know I had to social distance, but at least I was able to, entertain and social distance and, still keep a happy situation going, strong. And was amazing. Was an amazing New Year's, and I'm still kind of floating on the vibe of that whole thing. Trying to come into this being the 4th day of January, as of this taping, and of course, happy. Listen to me, not Merry Christmas. It's Happy Birthday. See what I'm doing? Okay. Happy birthday, Melissa. That's my niece. She just had a birthday as of this taping.
Well, I hope she's listening.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she better be listening. Wishing you a happy birthday. Hey.
She dips in.
This is our gift to Melissa.
That's where we go. This is it. This is it. Look what you get. Anyway, so other than that, yeah, just I had a daddy-daughter day. The other day, which was really nice. Soraya and I got to hang out together, and we went over to my mom's house, and we brought a Chromecast adapter for the flat screen TV, so we could mirror whatever's on our phones onto the television set and get all these other things. And we watched 2 movies, which I'll do that later in the movie review. I watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
What now?
We talked about that last week.
Yep. I know we talked about that last week, but I watched it again with my mom and my daughter, and then the one thing I did see that was new was Soul. I got to see that because Soraya Disney Plus. Yeah. So I went and I saw Soul, which I've got some.
So what'd you think about that?
What I think about Soul? Extraordinary. Okay. All right. My mom is not a big animation buff. Okay. She's not into cartoons and things like that. But she couldn't keep her eyes off of the situation that is Pixar. And, and as always, Pixar, some more than others, they do have a certain magic about them. And they exhibited this in Soul in such a way that made it thoroughly enjoyable throughout the entire picture, and we all were just like taken aback at the palettes, the colors, the story was really strong story, really solid story, and it gave me the feels, and it does beg you to think about what happens in those particular situations. So with that being said, without giving the movie away, yeah, that's for me. That's about as close to a 4.85 yeah mans I can give it. Okay. Yeah, I thought
it was better than Onward.
Pardon me?
Did you see Onward?
I saw Onward, and okay. Yeah, it's character builds were great, the voices, the color palette, the layout, and everything like that. But for me, the story was just atypical to so many other stories I have seen in the animation world. So it didn't really bring a whole lot of new things to the table for me. But with Soul, it came right out, swinging with all types of different new ideas and new story situations. The only one repetitious story situation I've noticed that happens in a lot of animation is the premise of going from one world into another world through a catastrophic effect. Okay? But at the same time, you watch Soul, and the fact that they're addressing, the type of cast that they had in Soul and the type of premises in Soul, and then jazz, of all the musical things to feature in a Pixar movie, is probably the most extensive use of jazz I've seen in a Pixar movie.
Yeah, I think. Well, Jeff and I talked about this last week. We thought there could have been more music in it.
Right, but what music was in it did really carry the storyline well.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, it was really good music. I just wanted more.
Yeah, I wanted more music too, and that was why I didn't give it 5 out of 5. Because I could have used a little bit more music. I really would have liked to see more of the sets. Like in the one scenes where they were in the club. And by the way, the female that was playing the sax is modeled after a real saxophone playing female, and it's amazing how they captured her essence on screen. It was just really, really well done. Somebody whoever did this really did their research. Whoever worked on the characters within the framework of the band and everything is just amazing.
Well, but that's Pixar. That's what they do. They sit down and they take their time to really do their homework and their research,
right?
And sit in and go to jazz clubs and talk to guys like that.
Like for Ratatouille, they sent the animators in and they started cooking with them. They're showing the texture and how the foods interact with the real world.
Which is amazing, to me, that Pixar does that extra couple of steps to give you that feel that it's not like you're watching an animated film, but almost like you're watching the real thing.
Well,
because
and that's why
they're not that far apart at this point.
But that's why Pixar is so successful. It's because they are doing those little things. That's what sets them apart from a lot of other people who are doing animation out there throughout the globe, and that's why Disney went out and eventually, keep in mind, Disney was doing business with them, but they didn't own them at one point. They owned them because at one point Disney was like, yeah, we need to own Pixar.
Well, that's what almost destroyed Disney. Was when it became that situation, because after a while, when the CGI and the Pixar style settings started making real inroads, people doing 2D animation, regular animation, were looking at it like, this is the death knell for us guys, because now these guys can make the animation quicker, faster, and the palettes are boundless.
Yeah, but I would just, here's where I'll push back. The amount of time that it takes them to create a movie like Soul is a lot longer than you think.
Yeah.
It's a lot longer than you think, because the amount of time with the research and what they do and how they do it.
Yeah.
It's just they have those plans where they have multi-year plans, and these are the movies that they're going to lay out, and these are the movies they're going to have, and this is how it's going to happen. And so, they plan out the time to make it seem like, oh, they're popping them out so fast. They're not popping them out so fast.
Well,
they take years to get made.
Well, they plan them well. They plan
right,
them well.
But look at how much time it took them to get
back
how much
to
time.
The Incredibles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not even
right.
but okay, not even the Incredibles. Let's take it a different direction. How long did it take them to get to Toy Story 2? How long did it get them to get to Toy Story 3?
Oh.
How long did it take them to get from Cars 1 to Cars 2? How long did it take them to get from Nemo to Dory?
All right. But I think the reason why, this is just my stand on this. I think the reason why they spaced them so far apart, because you see what happens in motion pictures where you crank them out, number 1, and then a couple years later, number 2, a couple years later, number 3. And, okay, yeah, with some of those, okay, yeah, they spaced them far apart from one another, but then they also took the added time to say, hey, yeah, we know it's out of sight, out of mind right now, but if we're going to come back, we got to come back with something that's going to catch them right where we're going to get them. And not lose,
I don't know about that.
And not lose any of the consistency that made the first movies just as enjoyable. Okay, not every multiple movie after 2 or 3 or 4 is going to sustain that, because you can only run a franchise out so far until it starts to get thin, and then you start seeing it as transparently. Okay, but I would have to say for Pixar's batting average, they've gotten more hits than misses.
Right,
and,
but there are hits.
But
hold on a second. But their hits mostly have not been on sequels. Their hits have not been on sequels. Their hits have been on the initial ones that come out when they create initial original content. Like, for example, you sat there and said, oh, because they take the time. No, the reason why it takes so much time is because they have so many other projects that they have slated in between that it takes them that much time to get back to that project. And in fairness,
yeah.
And in fairness, like, for example, Incredibles 2, with how long it took, I will at least give them credit, which is, well, we didn't have another story. Now we had another story. The irony to me about the other story was, it wasn't really that great.
No.
It was great to have the characters back, but the story wasn't all that great.
No, Incredibles 1 was way better than 2. No.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, by far.
Okay, well, I would have to say, yeah, Incredibles 1 was fabulous. It was great. It was well done. Number 2, okay, yeah, it took a long time for them to get back to number 2, but at least they were able to get 50 to 75% of its sensibilities back within the framework of what they did for that movie. I mean, it wasn't going to be 100%. It's just like when you got Toy Story 1. Nothing's ever going to beat Toy Story 1 because it's Toy Story 1. Okay, number 2.
I think they all like Toy Story is the exception to the rule. Like that franchise.
I'm talking.
That franchise
has got consistency. And on the return, on number 2, it gave you 80. On number 3, it gave you 85.
What about the last one? There were a lot of people who didn't think the last one was all that great.
I liked it. It had the same vibe, but Toy Story 3 was a bigger emotional gut punch.
Well, that was a more emotional jag on number 3. And personally,
but 4 had it too. 4 had that too. The end of 4 when Woody and Buzz say goodbye. That hit hard.
You got the pre-conclusion and then you've got the epilogue. That ended it beautifully, in my opinion, as far as the franchise of Toy Story was concerned.
Well, I think point we can make is that Toy Story is the exception as far as the sequels go. In almost any
in any medium.
Yeah.
Well, but more particular on the Pixar stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not knocking Pixar on it. I'm just saying that.
Oh no, I'm not saying
they're not. I'll be honest. I don't know that they're doing the research like they used to when they go and do some of these sequels, because in reality, the reason why it's taking so much time is because you have things like Up and Soul and I'm trying to think some of the other ones that they've had the last few years where they've had them on the dockets. They've had them on the dockets, and those are the ones that are coming next. If they have a hit and they like something, it's going to take them a while to get back to it.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying.
That's not a bad thing. But as far as Pixar is concerned, I mean, their consistency to excellence is a lot more so than maybe quite a few other animation houses or whatever that's involved as far as doing animation is concerned. Yeah, of course. You look at Up. You can't make a number 2 for Up because that is the definitive story on Up.
Right.
Okay, and then
you can't make a sequel to WALL-E either. I don't think.
Right? Yeah, that would be impossible.
And then there's WALL-E. See, you can't sequel WALL-E because it's a self-contained story that just it came to you and that's where it's going to be. And then some things you can expound on Okay, like Toy Story, because these are about toys. Okay. Now, I don't see Soul going into Soul number 2, and I hope they don't, because they just it's good just right where it is. Some things don't need to have.
The only thing they could do
is make Soul 2 about the life of 22.
Yes, that they could do.
Well, if they could go deeply into what happens once he gets back on Earth, but then
no, I'm not talking about him. We're not talking about.
No, Joe's story is done.
Joe's story is done.
Yeah, Joe's story is
done.
So we're going to talk. Oh, okay. All right.
We went with 22, who's by the way played by Tina Fey. So can't imagine that's not something that's not been thought about. Which is not like she's like not one of the bigger comedians in recent memory. You could do a lot worse than to have a Pixar
Tina
movie
Fey.
in which the headliner is Tina Fey. So
but Tina Fey for the most of it, just like Jerry Seinfeld, they had their day.
Jerry Seinfeld,
whatever. Seinfeld, Siegfried, Roy. So yeah, Seinfeld.
Wait, hold on a second. Why would you say that Tina Fey has had her day?
Well, okay. Other than just the thing that she just did for Soul, and then she had a television show, and it wasn't that. Is it still on?
No.
What?
The Rock?
30 Rock. 30 Rock. But they just,
how long ago was that?
A couple years ago. It's only been a couple
Rock?
of years. Yeah.
No, I thought it was longer than that.
Okay, I'll go look it up. I'll go look it up. But in the meantime, I know she just did that thing on Amazon. As a matter of fact, I was going to talk about it later, which is I watched a show called Modern Love on Amazon, and she's in one of the episodes of that. So.
Well, what I'm saying is,
they just did a 30 Rock reunion recently.
Okay, a reunion. Okay. Anyway, all I'm saying is.
So 7 seasons. So 7 seasons. They were done in 2013.
Okay, that was 8 years ago.
Okay, would you like me to go pull up to? One second. Fine. Let's go pull up Tina Fey's IMDb. I'm telling you, there's stuff that. Oh, here, ready? It looks like
I'm just saying that.
What do you,
Ivan? Pixar is going to put their money behind someone that may or may not, advance the movie. That's what I'm asking.
Let's see.
That's what I'm asking.
She's been on Saturday Night Live. Let's see. She's done movies.
Did John Katzenberger retire from Pixar?
I don't know.
Who?
John Katzenberger, the guy who's
no, he's still with Pixar.
I mean, did he have a voice in this?
I didn't catch it.
That I don't know for sure.
Yeah, usually.
Katzenberg is still with Pixar. Are you kidding me? For him to walk away from Pixar would be crazy.
That'd be crazier than getting Jerry Seinfeld.
I don't
care about Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld is full of shine. I mean, what? Yada, yada, yada. Big fucking deal. Anyway.
Well, there's a lot of people who would disagree with you, Ivan.
Well, good.
That is a big deal. That is a big deal.
I don't care.
Okay. But Ivan just doesn't
it's not about whether you care. It's about when you
care.
make a statement. It's about when you
make
a statement and say it's not a big deal.
I was never big on Jerry Seinfeld anyway.
It doesn't matter. Oh, hold on a second. Just because you don't like him doesn't mean that doesn't mean it's not a big deal.
He's not a big deal. What has he done lately? What have you done for me lately? Nothing.
No, because you don't have cable.
No, all right.
You don't have cable, and you don't have Netflix.
Ivan does have Netflix.
What has he done lately?
Okay, so then how come you've never watched Comedians Getting Coffee in Cars, it has been on for a long time and been very successful, in which it has Jerry Seinfeld.
How many times has he been on that? I'm sure that's supposed to be with a bunch of different.
It's his show.
It's his show.
He's on every episode. Last I checked.
He's on every episode, Ivan.
Well, I don't know. I don't follow.
Well, but that's my point. You can't sit there and say I don't know, and then say he hasn't done anything. Can't do that.
I think we'd move on to the. Think we can move on to the news.
Let's move on to the news. I gotta give.
He hasn't done anything. It's his show. Well, I didn't know that.
How many episodes is he in?
How many episodes is he in?
All of them, Ivan.
Okay, well, good.
All of them, Ivan. All of them.
Yeah, and it just shows my appreciation to the form since I haven't seen it and didn't bother with it. Because,
it's supposed to be, he's had some phenomenal stations with different comedians that people have talked about for a long time.
He had one piece of sage that I can give him credit for. One. He said that,
By the way, let's make something clear. I'm not a big Jerry Seinfeld fan, so I'm kind of laughing. I'm kind of laughing that I'm kind of laughing that I have to defend him from you, considering the fact that I'm like, I'm not all that impressed by him. But to sit there and say he's not done anything.
Come on, let's go to the news.
Let's see. No, a second. You've said a lot of stuff, and now we have to talk about it. Like, for example.
All right, fine. I said a lot of stuff.
Hold on a second. You said Tina Fey. Hold on a second. You said Tina Fey hasn't been in anything since 30 Rock. Well, let's see. She did an episode of The Simpsons.
Not much of anything. Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see if that's correct.
I'm holding. What do you want me to do?
Well, let me finish. Well, okay, because it's flopping around, and I don't really fucking deal with that. Let's see. She did an episode of The Simpsons. She did a movie called Mission. She was in a series called Awesomes. She did the Anchorman sequel. She did a Muppet movie. Let's see. She did a movie called Sisters with Kate Ellis.
Okay.
She did something called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which is a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There's a few different pieces which she's done episodes in. She was in something called The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt in 2015-2017. She was in a series. She was part of a series called Great News, 5 episodes. Saturday Night Live. She's been doing things.
Okay.
Something called Wine Country. Like I've mentioned about Modern Love, which I know she was in at least 2 episodes recently, right. And that was in 2019, and that was Emmy nominated.
Here is
I mean, and by the way, that's just as an actress.
You're not hearing me. Here's my question, Jeff. My question is, do you think that on the purpose of Tina Fey, do you think Pixar is going to bank on Tina Fey to carry a movie about 22?
You're damn right they would.
You think they would?
Absolutely. I think they would.
You put your money on.
Absolutely.
She's had leading roles in films.
Yeah, she's one of the biggest names. Ivan, she's one of the biggest names in Hollywood. As a matter of fact, she if anything, one of the reasons you haven't heard things is she's executive producing things now. Like for example, there's a new show that's coming out on NBC from Ted Danson. I think it's called Mr. Mayor. She's the executive producer for that.
I've seen the rushes on that. Interesting.
Guess who the executive producer is? Tina Fey.
Hey, so she's executive producer. All right, cool.
Well, but the point I'm getting at is that you're kind of making it sound like, okay, they wouldn't put look. But by your here, right?
I need you to elucidate my point, which you did. So now I know.
Well, but the point I'm getting at is here. Let's put this in perspective.
Wait, let me finish my thought, please. My thing is that I just needed elucidation on what Tina Fey has done lately. For me, it didn't seem like she was doing a lot, but you elucidated that point that, yeah, absolutely she is. Okay, now I'm sitting with there thinking about this for a moment and saying, okay, maybe I might have been flippant in my answer to what I said about Tina Fey. Okay, right. You made your point, and I'm agreeing with you. Okay, fine. Maybe she can carry this movie. About 10 minutes ago, I didn't think so. But now that you put it in perspective for me, and you elucidated my non-knowledge of what she did in the last few years, now I'm thinking, maybe I can be corrected. I can be corrected. As far as Jerry Seinfeld, never gave a shit. But anyway, now.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. And this is all I'm going to say. Did anybody think when Up came out that Ed Asner could make a big movie at that time?
Hell yeah. It's Ed Asner.
Yeah, but he's the
Come on,
guy from
Ivan.
Barney Miller.
Ed Asner from Luke Grant, who hasn't done a major movie in ages.
But I'm saying though that some people, especially when you talk about the older actors and actresses and such, that come out of wanting what it is that they want to do for a new product, that's one thing. Okay? And that happens a lot where you get a person that Ed Asner is more than Luke Grant. Ed Asner is more than any of the television things. Ed Asner did movies. Ed Asner did radio. Ed Asner did writing. Ed Asner did a lot.
Ed Asner
was that Mary Tyler Moore?
Yeah,
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
Right, but again,
Luke Grant
that's
spun off Mary Tyler Moore.
But you literally just said, "What have you done for me lately?" I'm going to tell you that in between all those things, Ed Asner had not done very much before he did Up.
He's in Cobra Kai.
Well, he's in Cobra Kai now.
Yeah, he's a bit role as the step
now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's now. See?
Right, after he did Up.
I'm sure he was involved behind the scenes just like Tina Fey was. What makes you think he wasn't?
I'm not saying... Okay.
And he was Santa Claus and Elf, man.
Oh, there you go. One more time.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. See? So,
by the way, P.S. FYI for you. Jerry Seinfeld involved in a little show called Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That was pretty huge.
It still is. That show's not over.
Oh, it's still. Oh, they're still making new seasons of that?
I think they're still making new seasons of that.
That seems like it's gone on forever.
Seems that way.
Yeah, well, some of those HBO shows.
You made your point, Jeff. And like I said,
it's not about making point. It's just.
Well, yeah, it is. It is about making a point because you ain't gonna allow me to go around being ignorant about anything. If you know better about it than I do about it, and you need to say, hey, Ivan, you know what? You need to learn this is what this is. There's no shame in that. None at all.
Okay.
None at all.
Well, Jeff's made the case that we've made the case that Tina Fey could do a sequel to Soul.
Thank you.
The question is, will she? And when I say will she, that's a question of whether or not Pixar or anybody else thinks there's enough meat on the bone.
If there's more to go back to that,
Right, that's the question.
If you want to do that,
if there's a good enough story to go back to it.
It's really about story more than money at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I mean, I don't know if there's enough story to go back to. I don't know.
Well, the fact that 22 is now on Earth and going to have an all new existence on Earth, could lead up to a whole bunch of it could lead to all kinds of ideas to perpetuate the plot.
I don't know. Maybe someday. Who knows?
Maybe. Again, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's funny. As long as we're talking, we mentioned Tina Fey. Like I said, I did see recently on Amazon. It's the first season of. There's one season of it. It's Modern Love, and basically. It's letters that come into I guess there's a column called Modern Love in the New York Times where people bring in articles and stuff. So they're kind of standalone stories. And it's funny, Tina Fey is in one of the episodes. Although I'll admit that was not one of the better ones. The first couple were really, really good. I thought it was a really well done series. It's well crafted, interesting. I thought the Anne Hathaway episode was about her with dating and her dealing with bipolar was really, really solid. I'd say I give it 4 yeah-mans. It's definitely worth looking at. It's interesting.
Okay. Right.
I'm curious what they'll do for a season 2, because this isn't if they do a season 2, because really, the way it's set up, I mean, you're basically using new stories, using new characters, new stories. It's more, okay, here's a story that we found that looks interesting.
Well, there's a recipe. That was a recipe for a lot of programming, for a lot of shows. Okay, now going way back into the bin before you guys knew about it, Love American Style. Okay, and Love American Style did 2, 3, sometimes 4 separate stories. Love American Style, which spawned off many, many different series. Things. Wait till your father gets home, Happy Days, and a lot of that type of thing. But they featured in every episode 2, 3, 4 distinct different stories with different sets of characters, different sets of circumstances, and everything like that. Do you think maybe that Modern Love is following that formula, or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. They're pretty much 30-minute standalones.
Okay.
And that's okay. I'm okay with that.
They're just Dear Abby articles brought to life. Is that what that is?
It's not necessarily Dear Abby. It's interesting stories from people who are dealing with aspects of life about their dealings with love, and I guess or how they deal with things that in their life. And like I said, the stories that they chose were really, really pretty good. So I can't fault that. The other thing I watched was something called Upload, also from Amazon. Robbie Amell stars in it, where basically, it's kind of a comedy. It's a comedy with a little bit more to it than that. Basically, it's about, I don't want to give too much away, but basically he dies, and rather than dying, he gets uploaded into this virtual reality, his consciousness. And so it's kind of amusing. They're half hours, again, kind of fun. Worthwhile watch. There is one season.
Entertainment program? Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
But yeah, so those are a couple things I've seen recently. Obviously, I mentioned Bridgerton. But I know Mike mentioned he took a look at Cobra Kai.
Yep.
Yeah. So, as far as, okay, and please excuse me, I didn't mean to come on so strong earlier, but,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to have
a
heated discussion.
No.
A passionate discussion is welcome in this format.
A passionate debate, but I just don't, me, I don't like to hurt people's feelings or nothing like that.
You're not.
Okay,
You're
cool.
not.
All right.
No, you're not. You're not about that. That's Jeff's job.
I refuse.
Speaking of the thing you said in Modern Love, though, is interesting. When they had an episode about somebody, working with bipolar, it seems like a lot of people are making notice of that in the last year or so. I mean, I know that COVID has really brought the worst of people with mental illness, and it's just that type of thing. Where do you see a lot of that getting addressed more in shows and movies and things of this nature, or no?
I'll let Mike in. I'll make Mike take this first.
Yeah, it's proper representation. I mean, we've had, what was that show, The Good Doctor, where the doctor's, I think, son on the spectrum, I think.
Yes, he's autistic.
And
he's autistic.
And just more like, well, just more obviously the LGBT. We see a lot more of that in mainstream television representation. Yeah. And
okay.
No, but to answer your question, Ivan.
Yes.
Like I know there was a run on one of the Grey's Anatomy's characters recently before COVID. In which it was basically, yeah, they did an entire storyline for somebody on one of the major Grey's Anatomy characters. But I do think you're going to see a lot more of it, and I think one of the reasons you're going to see more of it is because even pre-COVID, the numbers on mental health and mental and depression and all that kind of stuff and mental illness,
right,
are have been on the rise in the last 3 to 4 years before COVID even hit. And there's been some major celebrities who have committed suicide, and one of the reasons is private suffering, stuff like that. And there's definitely, I think you'll see quite a bit of it. And one of the reasons I think you'll see quite a bit of it is because there's decades of this mentality of
that people with mental illness, are just to be separated.
Or suck it up.
No.
Or get over it.
No. Not at all.
Show it up. All that stuff like that.
No.
That stuff's been out there for a while.
Well, yeah. I mean, as a person who suffers from depression, and having, gone through, especially in the last decade, having to try to work around certain things. I think a new language needs to be instituted in the society where, no, I'm depressed. No, I can't suck it up. No, I can't buff up. No, I can't.
Well, and that's why you'll see it more on TV. That's why you're going to see more of it in TV and media is because that mentality, it's only been in the last few years where, and even in the last few years, there are still people, when you bring that mentality up, that there's still some people who don't buy into that.
Right.
And some of it's generational, some of it's not.
Right. But a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people believe that, the whole mental illness sensibility, oh, come on, it can't be that bad. Oh, come on, I mean, if I got through it, you can get through it. You see, a lot of the language needs to change, and the whole, sensibility, needs to not be taboo. In so many different ways. You know what? And when you tell a person, yeah, I'm suffering from a mental illness, all of a sudden they're taking 3 steps back and saying, I don't know if I wanna pull off a trigger, because then all of a sudden, they're scared that they're gonna say something, it's gonna trigger some kind of freaky outcome with people suffering from mental illness and depression and things of this nature. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people, on screen, on television, on, wherever you may be, they could be smiling, happy, and everything else. But yet, you know what? Until you walk a mile in their shoes and know their story, you don't know what they're going through, and people need to address.
That's why I expect you'll see more of it on TV.
Absolutely, which
I think you'll see more of it on TV. Mm-hmm. I think you will see some of that.
I'm hoping that becomes something of a dialogue in conversations. I hope that becomes something that becomes more and more aware in motion pictures and in television and whatever else have you, on the internet, on, social media and everything. I mean, we're living in very angry times now, and we're living in very uncertain times right now. And it just, I mean, it's people, can you go ahead and yell, oh, we all, can't we all just get along? No. No, it's not just can we all just get along, is can we recognize what really is going on, or should I use a phrase? Do we really know what's eating Gilbert Grape?
Nachos,
grapes,
oranges,
grape nachos, grape nachos with oranges. There we go.
So, nachos and oranges. Now there's Jeff's new dinner plate for the week.
Not really. No, not necessarily.
So let's see what.
By the way, can I just tell you, I am getting real tired Taco Bell and their fucking menu changes that they've been making.
What, they changed the menu again?
What they take away now?
I'm getting tired of literally. It's like every time I turn around, it's like, what the hell? Why are you getting rid of stuff that you've had for decades and suddenly it's like, no, we don't serve that anymore. We don't serve that anymore. We don't serve that anymore.
Because they're bored?
Well, what they take away?
No, a lot of it, like, apparently they don't do a taco salad anymore.
Why
they
don't
don't
you
do
not
Mexican
do a taco
pizza.
salad?
They don't do a taco salad. They don't do Mexican pizza anymore. The fuck?
Well, Mexican pizza, okay, but no taco salad?
And they don't have the
No
Nacho
taco
Supreme, which is like in between just like nachos and chips, or the cheese and chips, and then there's the Nachos Belgrande. But like the smaller one, it's like a smaller.
Wow.
There's a smaller version
crazy.
of that called the Nacho Supreme, and they took that away.
Yeah, and then they got rid of most
crazy.
of they got rid of most of their chicken stuff because they weren't doing shredded chicken anymore. And I'm like,
They still have the chicken quesadilla.
That's
So
not the fucking same.
basically Taco Bell has now become more beef heavy.
Well, that too, and the other
Whatever
thing
there,
is
you know.
it's like, it's funny because a lot of the stuff that they're talking about now is like, it's funny because I did get the Nachos Belgrande, and it used to come in like the plastic thing with a dome, like, that looked like the dome. Now it doesn't come in that. Now it comes in like a cardboard fucking piece of shit container. And it's like, it's not exactly all that great. It's kind of flimsy. And I'm like, all these fucking, I swear to God. Look, I get the environmental thing, but Jesus fucking Christ. Can we fucking, like, I want to drink a straw. I don't want it to fucking evaporate when I goddamn drink. I mean.
Yeah, okay, yes, I'm not a fan of the paper straw. Okay, I'll give that.
And now, like, the Nachos Belgrande comes in this, like, it was funny. I opened the thing. I'm like, where's the fucking Nachos? Oh, wait, what is this? What is this box? I'm like, oh, it's in there. I'm like, what kind of? I was like, first of all, because it's in that thing. First of all, because it's in that thing, it doesn't stay nearly as warm either.
Well,
and I'm like, that was bullshit.
You're taking something out of a non-porous container and putting it into a porous container. Of course, it's gonna get cold.
And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this? Like,
it's called trimming back the fat, man.
Well,
Bring back the
claiming,
McDLT. Hot stays hot, cold stays cold.
Well, there you
they
go.
won't do that. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we talked about last week.
We talked about last week, but we'll never see a McDLT. They can't do that. We'll never bring that back because you have to have two things of plastic. You can't have two things of plastic.
It's a styrofoam.
Or styrofoam, or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, like you talked about it last week, where you used to be able to like make all kinds of cool toys and shit out of the goddamn styrofoam shit, and now you can't do that anymore.
No.
Well, it's kind of like what they did with their. It's kind of like what they did with their coffee spoons. Remember the coffee spoons they used to have at McDonald's? Everybody was using them for Coke spoons.
No, I wasn't.
No, not I.
Nope.
Well, I did. not
I'm
me
sure you
personally,
did.
No. I've only went that route. I only went that route 4 times my whole life. Didn't like any of it. Was like, nah, not for me.
You didn't like it the first time, so you had to try it 3 more times.
Yep.
Well, that was just 3 different occasions, and you would think that something would get better after trying it another time. No, same result.
So we'll try it 2 more times just to be safe.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, you try to see if something may be different or not, but when you get the same result every time, then no, not so much. I mean,
which was
yes,
one of them like New
understand.
Coke and one's Coca-Cola Classic and the other one was like Cherry Coke or something.
Yeah,
or
pretty much
Coke.
like that. Yeah, or that New Coke. Which, by the way, what do you think of that New Coke, that Coke Zero or whatever the hell they call it?
Coke Zero? I like Coke Zero.
I like Coke Zero.
I'm okay with Coke Zero.
I'm okay.
I'm confused by what it is now because it's like Coke Zero to sugar. Like, what? What is that? What happened to it just being Coke Zero? I'm confused.
It's like, it's not quite diet, but it's not quite, it has the artificial sweetener in it, right?
Is that what it is? All I know is I like it better than Diet Coke.
I actually look at it. I get it when I go to Subway,
I know I like it better than Diet Coke. I know that.
Well, Diet Coke will kill you, man. You saw all the cyclamates and stuff that they put in there? Ugh.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Diet drinks are worse for you than the regular drinks.
Exactly, yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
well,
living
can cause death, film at 11.
Yeah. Unless you die at 10:30.
Okay, and then you just missed it by that much.
Yeah.
So I think we can move to the news now.
Do we have news?
Yeah.
What do we have?
Well, here,
I don't even know.
you guys go ahead and get your news together. I'll be right back and get me a glass of water, so hang on.
All right. Superman and Lois premieres the February 23rd on CW. You posted a story about Spider-Man's getting a new suit in March.
Yeah, why is everybody... Okay, let's put this in perspective. And it's funny because I caught Dan Slott, and apparently while Dan Slott was writing Spider-Man, he pointed out at least 5 different new Spider-Man suits that he put in personally in the 2000s since, I can't remember when Slott took over writing Spider-Man, but it's got to be post-2005.
Are they all Peter Parker?
Yeah, all Peter Parker. But, for example, this part I laugh about is, people being like, oh, a new Spider-Man suit. Well, let's put this in perspective. The first time we saw a new Spider-Man suit, at least in my lifetime, was when they did the Secret Wars thing, and that became the symbiote, and then we got
why is he getting a new Spider-Man suit? Did he rip his old one?
Don't know. We don't know. We don't know the reason. We don't know the rationale. We don't know anything. It's just we've seen a cover. We've seen a cover, and it looks different.
Spider-Man's gotten fat. He needs
I'm not feeling it yet. It's blue and gray with an orange trim. I don't know.
I'm willing. Look, there are a lot of people who...
Gray with an orange trim sounds like a pair of really badly colored Nikes or something.
No, it doesn't look that bad.
The picture's on the Squares page. It's on Spider-Man's Facebook page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, the next time that I'm aware of that we did anything like that was the Iron Spider suit, and ironically, that's the suit they used in Avengers in the movies. Okay. Or a similar version to that. So, to me, I'm not... maybe this is... in fairness, usually new Spider-Man suits have brought interesting things that have happened for Spider-Man, and after a while, I gotta tell you, sometimes you need something different for Spider-Man. So I guess I'm taking the positive point of view on it, at least for now. Apparently Patty Jenkins is good with body switching people and people being raped.
Yeah, you did talk about this last week when we reviewed Wonder Woman 84. So Patty Jenkins was confronted by it, so she's defending her position.
Yeah.
Okay, can you let me in on that little bit just for the audience?
Spoilers for Wonder Woman 84.
We talked about this, didn't we?
Where Wonder Woman
I'm just asking for a little tiny bit.
Let's give a quick recap to give Ivan some context as to what we're talking about. In Wonder Woman 84, Wonder Woman wishes to have Steve Trevor back. So instead of bringing his physical body back, Steve Trevor inhabits another man. But when she sees him, she sees Steve, not this other dude who has his own life, who this dude just happens to inhabit for the course of the film.
Sounds like
Quantum Leap.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Quantum Leap. That's the best way to put it.
Or Ghost Whisperer, Weird. That's just bizarre. Okay.
So the story from Screen Rant, Wonder Woman 84 director Patty Jenkins justifies their decision to have Steve Trevor use an unknowing man's body in the sequel. The filmmaker returned to the DCU and reunited with Gal Gadot following their first venture in 2017's Wonder Woman. But while the original movie had generally positive feedback from both viewers and critics, its follow-up had quite a different reception.
Yeah, I could see why.
But addressing the backlash, Jenkins reposted a post made by a fan in defense of the plot point. The argument points to the film Big, starring Tom Hanks, saying that if Wonder Woman is to be criticized for this, so should the 80s flick. Well, it's different.
It's a different.
The kid
Big
got large.
Premise. It's okay. It's the Freaky Friday thing. Come on.
But here's the difference. The difference between this and Freaky Friday is they switch places. They're both aware that they switch places.
Yeah.
They have their different consciousnesses. This is more like, okay, where this other guy's consciousness goes while essentially Steve Trevor's there, I have no idea, and nobody else does either. So,
well, see,
I mean,
okay, because here's my take on that. All right, if you are inhabiting another person's body, okay, what frame of mind does it accept? The body that's going around, or the body that's being channeled?
I don't know.
See,
I'll let you know the next time that happens to me.
No, but I'm saying that's what comes to my mind, because yeah,
I know we're arguing about a superhero movie and the suspension of disbelief, but just the fact her defense is they did it in big. It's not quite.
That's not a solid. That's not a solid.
No.
That's not a solid premise. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and especially because it's like, okay, they did it in big, great. And would Wonder Woman
was good for
do
big.
Part of the problem is you're talking about Wonder Woman and there's certain idealized thought processes about Wonder Woman and who she is and what she would and wouldn't do.
Right.
And that becomes part of the problem too. And you know, I don't know. Again, it's
okay. Now,
laugh about it.
Now, well, okay. Just one last question. All right, and now, do Wonder Woman and this person connect in any way in this film?
No. At first, she's all like, he knows things and he's following her, but she's like, get away, I don't know you. And then she says something that only Steve told her. And then she finally clicks that her wish that she off-puttedly, made had come true, and Steve Trevor is inside this other dude, and she sees Steve instead of this other dude's face.
So as long as we're talking about Wonder Woman, there was an article from Hollywood Reporter about where Wonder Woman 3 could go, and one of the interesting parts about this is apparently they've discussed a spin-off movie called Amazons. Now, the question would be what characters that would be involving, or would it be just characters on Themyscira, and how that would fit into a Wonder Woman 3, or if it wouldn't, or how it would fit into a 4-film arc. The other thing is it's interesting because we talked about this about what's left in terms of Wonder Woman villains, and, you know, it's funny because they mentioned Cersei as well. Look, just like we did.
Mm-hmm.
That Cersei makes an interesting concept and idea. The interesting part to me is, you know, they do make an interesting point, which is, you know, obviously Wonder Woman will be set in a current time frame, but it's possible Wonder Woman could be set in the future. Like, not even like our current time frame, but future. But I don't know why you do that. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, would that take the story into a whole nother direction if they did that?
Yes, it would. Yes.
Depends on and it depends on what you're trying to do. If these sets of movies are not connected in any way to anything else with any other DC superhero, then okay, I guess that makes sense. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what their plan is, what their thought process is. I mean, I don't know. Would they be able to, you know, the interesting part is, you know, certainly, you know, I don't know, you know, there are some Wonder Woman family type characters along the lines of, you know, you've got Donna Troy, but her story over the years has gotten very, very muddled. But you could go back to the original story. You've got Cassie Sandmark, I think is her name, who was the more recent Wonder Girl that they could bring in and look at, you know, about possibilities. Again, to me, I don't know. The only other name that keeps popping to mind to me is, they introduced Balalia, and the Queen Bee was a villain in Justice League back in the day. That could be an option. I don't know. Again, this is just me spitballing, but I guess these are some of the conversations that are going on there. By the way, Mike, I just saw apparently WandaVision going to be 9 episodes.
Cool. That's good.
So
coming
basically,
in 2 weeks.
we're looking at and first one is the 15th. So I'm thinking that'll give us
in 2 weeks. We'll have some content. That's good.
Absolutely.
Like I said, and Superman Los is coming in February. So
yeah, I'm curious about it. We'll see where that goes. Again, more with, I saw something today about that apparently, because there was that New York Times article with the new head of DC Films, and a few other things that came out of note were, one was that supposedly the person called the Snyder Cut the cul-de-sac, which means that essentially that's where it ends.
Yeah.
That's where it ends. Interestingly enough, Kevin Smith has now said there ain't no, for everything I've seen and heard, there ain't no cul-de-sac at all. And he toadies up enough to those guys that that's a possibility. And he's buddy with Zack Snyder, so that doesn't shock me at all. Apparently there's not going to be a Cyborg movie, which was interesting because that news came out about 5 minutes after Ray Fisher once again went on another rant.
Yeah, Ray Fisher's, I know he's fighting the good fight, but he's digging his own hole in a lot of ways.
I think the most interesting thing is this, Mike. So I went on his Twitter because I was curious what reaction he got. And for every one person who thinks like you and I are thinking about this, there were like anywhere from 5 to 10 more on his feed that were like, we're with you, Ray. We see it. We got to get rid of these guys. We got to get rid of
that's the echo chamber that is social media.
Well, I just think it's interesting because apparently there's a decent enough size audience that's buying this thought process on a lot of this stuff. And the funny part to me is, again, still not letting up on Jeff Johns. Now apparently he's going after the new head of DC Film. Again, I kind of have your reaction, which is there's parts of it that's admirable. There's parts of me where I'm like, who's hiring this guy?
Yeah, who wants to be part of this? Like this could be.
I mean, honestly,
no one wants this baggage going into the studio.
I mean, the only person right now I can think of who would hire this guy at the moment, and again, to me, I would think nobody would hire him. For all I know, there'll be people who are like, oh, I'm totally going to bring him in because to stand up against this injustice. But I can't imagine he'd be allowed on a Warner lot anywhere. I mean, I just wouldn't imagine it. Now, I can think of some other places that maybe some other major studios they'll go, okay, maybe, yeah, sure. Like for example, if Tom Cruise sat there and said, I'm going to step in and rehabilitate this guy's career, and he wanted to put him in a Mission Impossible, that's probably happening. But that's the only way I see it.
So you're saying that this guy could, the only way you think he would actually be able to become back in if he was ushered in or piggybacked onto somebody's project.
He'd have to have somebody come in who would
pretty much like
pretty much like vouch for him.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you'd have to have somebody with enough clout.
Dummy terms like mine, yeah, just to vouch for him.
You'd have to have somebody with huge clout where it was like they had enough clout and they had enough on their end
to go ahead and make this happen, right?
Right, exactly. You'd need somebody like that to where it was like, yeah, we're hiring this guy. Now, the interesting thing would be is if one of those people was somebody who worked with Warner as a studio and tried to do that to Warner. Like, it'd be interesting. What if Jason Momoa said, I'm not doing an Aquaman movie without Ray Fisher coming in and playing Cyborg. I'm not doing Aquaman
What if Ray Fisher played Mera?
Oh my God.
Just put a red wig on him.
I have a different opinion about Amber Heard than you do, which is maybe because she's hot.
And she is.
She's gorgeous, and I think she's taken a lot of shit about this. And I'm not saying she's right or wrong, but she is just as much right to work as he does. So I kind of always laugh about the people who go after her.
Yeah, and there's lots of times where we've overlooked the social issues, the personal issues of actors and actresses to enjoy their performances.
Yeah. And you know what?
Right now, nobody's perfect. We've all got issues.
Oh, I got lots of issues.
Yes, we have. We've all done, some of us have done really bad things, and although we still are great performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of us have been really bad things, and then some of us are Trump.
Anyway.
What?
We don't even want to go into that arena. Come on.
Oh, no, I was just using that
No, I know you use it for that for reference, but, how many of us are going to watch this man dig his hole any deeper than he is already,
Ray Fisher?
I think he's already, I think he's talking about Trump, but Ray Fisher could be in the hole right next to him digging.
Well, well, that's what I'm kind of shooting for here.
That's the other thing, by the way, Mike. Here's the other interesting from that interview is apparently the story going around is whatever they're going to do with this extended DC universe for movies. Apparently, the Batman that they're going to use going forward for that is Michael Keaton.
I thought they were going to use that in a Flashpoint where Michael Keaton is like an old Batman and you could have somebody play Terry for Batman Beyond.
Well, and that's apparently he's going to play a major factor of being in whatever they've got involved with that. So
here's what I'm thinking, guys. I mean, now with the whole Batman franchise, it seems like using Michael Keaton is actually going full circle. Now we got an older Batman. And whatever direction they take towards what they do.
We had an older Batman with Ben Affleck, and he didn't do a bad job. I
like Ben Affleck. Yeah. It's just that again, this is that whole project,
that whole premise,
the whole project when they tried to start their own extended DC universe. There's so many things that they screwed up from the get-go, and it's unfortunate because we lost some things that I didn't want to lose. Like, for example, I think Ben Affleck did a great job as Batman. I would have liked to have seen a Ben Affleck Batman movie, but unfortunately, they kept pestering him going, okay, we've got a good enough script as it is, and Affleck's like, no, this script is not good enough. This is not good enough. It's my name on it. I'm the director. I'm producing it. We're not going until I have a script that I like that I think is worthwhile.
Right.
And I have it where I want it. And that's why he walked away, because he was pissed.
Rightfully so.
He wanted the same creative control that Ryan Reynolds had for Deadpool.
Well, and the funny part is he had it. He kind of had it, except that they were, unlike Fox, they weren't listening. They wanted stuff and they wanted it. And that's been part of the problem is Fox listened to Ryan Reynolds. Okay? Just like Disney listened to the Marvel people. Okay? And this has been a problem with Warner. Okay, I want to make a great movie. I want to make this. No, this is good enough. No, I want to make a great. Well, we think you have a good enough script. We can go now. And because this is the window we want to make. And this is the window we want to make.
And the same thing that's happening now with Kathleen Kennedy is letting Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau do their thing with Mandalorian. And it's the most popular, it's unseated Game of Thrones as the most downloaded show of 2020. Or the most pirated show of 2020.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you brought that up. Because they're having I read somewhere else they're having an interesting internal debate. Because, they opened that Star Wars Galaxy, okay.
Oh, the Galaxy's Edge, the theme park?
Yeah, the Galaxy's Edge.
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of that is all based on the last trilogy.
Yeah, the sequel trilogy, yeah.
The sequel trilogy.
It takes place apparently, the Galaxy's Edge takes place between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Right. But there's people going, but The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda are far more popular than the last three movies were. And now people are going, but maybe we should change all these things and have all these things in our Star Wars land.
They're going to tear down the Millennium Falcon and put up a Razor Crest?
I don't know about that.
I'd still want to walk inside the Millennium Falcon.
I don't think that's going away.
What I'm thinking, guys, is that Disney I don't think they knew that The Mandalorian was going to get as big as it did get. And I think because that was going on, and they already had the plans already made for this part.
Right.
So now, that just left the whole thing in flux.
Well, the problem is, it goes beyond that, Ivan. The three movies that they created, okay?
The sequel trilogy.
The sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel trilogy did not go well. It did
not go as well as they'd hoped.
Right. Because that whole thing with Last Jedi, whether you like it or not, fucked up the whole thing.
Yeah, it undid a lot of things that J.J. Abrams did. Well, and then Abrams came along and undid the stuff that Ryan Reynolds put in Episode 8.
Not Ryan Reynolds. What's his name? Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson. Not Ryan Reynolds. I had Reynolds in my name.
Yeah,
not
we wish we had been Ryan Reynolds. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a whole bunch of Star Wars?
Have been Ryan Reynolds at this point, But
could you imagine a whole bunch of Star Wars Star Wars dick jokes?
Yeah.
That'd have been interesting. Not family fare, that's for sure.
Deadpool getting his arm lopped off by a lightsaber, feeling,
yes,
I've had worse.
He's like kind of sitting there with his baby arm going, I'm using the Force. I'm using the Force. You jerk it off, God.
I'm using.
But the point being is because of the fact that they have that problem with those three movies, and that's what this whole thing was based on.
Yeah.
And The Mandalorian's been so much more popular overall with fans.
Mm.
Overall, they may have to make some.
I think it would be to Disney's best interest to try maybe and kind of segue that whole situation into the Mandalorian situation. Do you think that's possible?
That's what the argument is whether or not
to
they
change Galaxy's Edge into Mandalorian land.
Right. Or do they want to kind of, there's still some people who are still very strong about where they want to go in the movies.
Will fly off themselves.
Well, but there's still a lot of people that want to move forward with the universe the way it was and all that stuff. So you have some internal battles there, and that's the reason why I wanted to bring this up when Mike was talking about Kathleen Kennedy. There are some still internal battles going on within them about this and about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And so the irony is Disney's having it. It's just, how can I say, The Mandalorian has kind of quieted some of that stuff. Whereas with DC, they just can't.
They were so desperate to play catch up with Marvel that the studio execs wanted their way.
Well, and the other thing is, okay, and here's the thing, okay, like Aquaman was very, very good.
Yeah,
it wasn't great.
It
wasn't great. Right, but it wasn't great.
It was enough to merit a sequel.
God. Right.
I think Shazam was enough to merit a sequel.
Exactly. But it wasn't, okay. The point I'm getting at is they haven't had a movie yet that you sit there and go, that was a home run. The closest was Wonder Woman, and now you have a sequel where people are going,
not so
not
much.
so good. Not so much. Not so good.
Not so much.
Okay. The real test is going to be, and I hate to say it this way, I feel bad because I like James Gunn, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on James Gunn with this Suicide Squad movie. A lot.
It's already in the can now, right?
Right. It's already in the can.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of pressure about how how this goes and how this if this succeeds and I think it will. I think it'll be okay. I just don't know if that's the problem. You're at this point where it's like the best way I can put it with DC is you're the porn star with performance issues. Where it's like, okay, and I need Viagra, and even the Viagra ain't working, okay, or not well enough,
Right. It's not enough for you to just show up.
Yeah, it's not enough for you to shoot your load.
Right.
Yeah, it's not enough for you to shoot your load. You have to show that you're
got the
fucking
moves.
Porn star.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a fucking porn star.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
it's a very Jeff analogy.
Well, yeah.
Well, it's every Jeff analogy.
Well, it didn't want to go that way, but it kind of worked out that way. But I mean, it's
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's the problem. It's the best analogy I can come up with. Yeah. And that's the frustrating part. The part that's frustrating is what we lost as a result, which is, I think a Ben Affleck Batman movie would have been good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been good. And it's funny, as much as people gave Leto crap, the irony to me is that one scene in Suicide Squad where Leto and what's her name, who plays Harley, Margot Robbie, are in the car and they're getting chased by Batman. That's one of the few times I've sat there and said, I'm finally seeing something in the movies that looks like something that came from a comic book or a cartoon. And I was like, you know what? If you can give me this level in a Batman movie, I'm kind of in. And I'd like to see something like that where it's Joker and Harley rather than just Joker.
Well, we shall see. We shall see.
But the point is, we lost Batfleck.
And Birds of Prey underperformed as well.
Right. Well, depends who you talk to. I agree with you, which is I think it underperformed.
Would you say Birds of Prey was spotty at best?
They had to change the title of the film, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they did. And I agree with you. How do I put this? I didn't think it was very good. And I think it didn't do well. There is still a lot of people who believe...
Well, you have a lot of detractors that are going to tell you differently.
Let's just say there is an element that continue to want to push this narrative out there about female superheroes and about how men are about female superheroes and about females writing female superheroes or female comic book heroines and how they are written. And I had this argument with somebody recently about Wonder Woman. And it's a very similar argument that I had about Harley Quinn, which was there are a lot of women that liked the Harley Quinn movie, but you're right, a lot of people didn't go to the movies. They watched it later and people liked it. And a lot of those people were women. Just like if you talk to a lot of women, you talk to a good majority of people who liked the Wonder Woman movie were women. Some weren't.
Okay, question. All right, now, as far as because I know that in the beginning, comic book was man's domain. There weren't much in the way of women comic book writers, artists, animators, whatever you want to call them, and everything. But as of late...
Oh, there's a ton.
Are there more women writing heroine stories in effect that back in the day when men created heroine stories that women actually enjoyed?
I think I got lost. Are you talking about, like, for example, like, are there stories that women have enjoyed that men have written about women?
Right.
Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell you off the top of my head there are some great arcs of Wonder Woman.
You don't
that
have
were
to
not
be.
written.
There's representation in places in business, but that doesn't mean a man can't write a good story about women.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
See,
correct.
that's what
But
I'm
there's
asking.
there's a push in today's society to have the representation present.
Right.
And
And the problem is,
that's not a bad thing.
No, it's
Here-
not.
here's the problem. Here's
What?
the problem. The problem
What's
is because there haven't been that many opportunities, and there haven't been that many female-led superhero type movies. When things don't do well, the problem is that there's a mentality that's out there that means that we can't have another bad female superhero movie because this was a bad female superhero movie. And the thought process is, whereas if we have a shitty Spider-Man movie, don't worry, there'll be another shitty Spider-Man movie coming out.
So you're saying that
I'm not saying. I'm saying this is the argument.
But I'm saying people are saying that that the mentality is, okay, we have one bad male superhero movie. Hell, we'll come back with another male superhero movie. But when it comes to the female superhero movies, that's it. That you only
If we
get
have
the
one
shot.
stinker, then don't count on another one for a while. I.e., like the
Right.
female, I like
best in it.
like the female Ghostbusters.
Right.
Comes to mind.
Yeah. And see, the problem that keeps coming up is, and this is the frustrating part, is some of them have just been bad.
Yeah.
Some of them have just, and see, here's the problem. When I say that some of them have just been bad, the problem that I run into is you're looking at it from a male perspective. I don't think so.
No.
But there are a lot of people, there are a lot of girls, like, for example, you mentioned the Ghostbuster movie, okay? I can't stand it. I think it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. There are a lot of women there were a lot of people there were a lot of women, and there were quite a few women whose reaction, and girls, where young girls didn't see it that way.
True.
Okay, but all right, this kind of goes. This might throw a wrench in this for a second. But do you think that maybe that whole girl Ghostbuster thing was just strictly geared towards young women, and but just direct. But I see, but not with the universal appeal of trying to appease everybody in the audience. But so basically, this is just, okay, we're going to go ahead and cater to the young ladies and ladies of the audience.
Yeah,
and everything.
women,
This is your movie.
Women were the target audience for the Ghostbusters film, I think.
That's the problem. The problem is I can't say for sure if they were the target or not. I certainly think that was a thought process.
Yeah.
There were just some...
That.
And in fairness, see, the problem is there's been enough muddled shit in between with that. Like, for example, there's a perfect example with the Ghostbuster movie. The reason why the women from the Ghostbusters movie weren't looked at for this new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out is because the guy who created it basically created it in an entirely new universe of its own.
Right, it's a new continuity. Right.
With an entirely different continuity
versus
sticking with the continuity. And I get it.
Just putting women in there instead of the men.
Well, not only just putting women in it, but an entirely different direction, entirely different story, that kind of thing. And that's fine. But but now here's an example of where it's like, okay, here's the problem with that, which is, okay, we're doing this other movie, and then you've got people going, well, they didn't use any, how come they're not bringing any of the women back? Well, because it doesn't work with the direction of the story. No, I don't think that's what it is. And I'm not saying that, but that's what's getting thought.
They wanted to distance themselves from the female Ghostbuster movie, which did underperform.
Right, but the problem is, some of the certain perspective is you're trying to distance yourself from the female Ghostbuster movie, and that's the problem, and that's where things come in and be a problem.
Because it underperformed, and again, it just goes right back to what we were talking about in the first place. Yeah, the women get a one-shot deal at it. If it doesn't go over, okay, you're not going to get another shot. Whereas the guys, yeah, if it doesn't get the shot the first time, then they shoot the next bullet, or they shoot the next bullet in hopes to get the target, But, and okay, also too, here's my other thought. Okay, when it comes to female heroines in motion pictures, I mean, how many women have actually directed and have come right up into the ranks to make, a female directed, a female produced, a female,
and that's
sensibility.
So to your point,
yeah,
that's one of the things that was talked about the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn movie, which is it was a female director coming from a female perspective. To me, the thing about the Harley Quinn movie is there's a few different things, and Mike, feel free to add in. One is it was an R-rated movie. Two, and this is just my opinion, I have real issues with the fact that Harley Quinn is considered a hero. I don't think she's a hero at all.
They want to make her like a Deadpool kind of anti-hero.
Right, and she's not even that. And that's part of the problem. Well, I shouldn't say that. In the comics these days, she is. But, and so maybe that's me being wrong. But I don't see her as an anti-hero, an anti-hero, or whatever the hell it is.
Anti-hero. Okay, but here's my thought on this. And that is, everything that has been presented in Harley Quinn, in the comics, in the animation, she's always been a criminal. I mean, she's the psychotic equivalent of Joker, okay? And, okay, to try to,
Actually, no, in the comics, no, that's not been the case recently.
Okay, because now I know they're doing all this stuff with the anti-hero thing, the whole Deadpool thing, the whole, that type of thing. Just like, would you say that the latest Joker movie is kind of a departure from the previous formula?
Well, yeah.
What's that have to do with Harley Quinn?
That has nothing to do with Harley Quinn.
Are they trying to do the same thing with Harley Quinn like they did with Joker?
No, I don't know. Well,
I think we've had enough. Well, have we really seen an on-screen descent into madness from Harley Quinn? I don't think so. Do we need a Harley Quinn origin film?
No. Really. Didn't we kind of get that in Suicide Squad? We kind of got that already.
A little bit. How she just wanted to break up with Joker because obviously Joker's, nutty's a fruitcake and probably going to kill you.
Well, I mean, she breaks up with Joker for different reasons.
Wasn't that the very thing that enamored her to him in the first place?
Well, right. They built this entire thing. And again, this goes back to, again, there's some changes to the character that have been going on since that Suicide Squad movie happened. Okay. And the other thing is, like, for example, the Kaylee Kuko cartoon that was DC Universe.
Yeah, they had one.
Kind of built on that, too.
They have 2 seasons of that, or just one?
One, but I
think there's a second one.
They're working on another. They've definitely greenlit a second season.
Yeah.
I think there was a 1 and a 1A.
And that show revolves around Harley's relationship with Poison Ivy, at the same time recognizing the Joker as not a good person.
Right, and that's the other thing, which is actually beyond the comics. Even if you look back to the Batman animated series from the 90s, Harley and Poison Ivy have had a relationship for a while.
Well, yeah, they had a thing going, literally.
And so that relationship's always been there, so it's funny, because Poison Ivy's always kind of been one of those characters where she's a bad guy, and the reason but she's a bad guy is because she has her own reasons. I can't wait. One of these days, I'm positive they're going to turn her from being eco-terrorist to eco-warrior, but we won't get into that. Cause I see it coming one of these days.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if they did.
It actually would be an interesting. It would be an actually actually now I'm thinking about it. It would be an interesting twist to the character. But yeah, I mean, the point being, there were a lot of things that didn't work in the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, that didn't work for it in certain ways. And yeah, I think there is part of it where it's like, okay, we're going to appeal to women. And I do think there's a part of it where it's, yeah, fuck the fanboys. Which is interesting because it's like, I get it, but you're also pissing off the people who are probably going to want to see the movie the most.
Yeah, the hardcore, the base.
The hardcore guys.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the one thing about the Wonder Woman movie. That was the one thing about the Wonder Woman movie. Because ironically, and that's the movie that I could point to anybody who wanted to talk about this subject was, okay, I didn't seem to have a problem with the Wonder Woman movie. Nobody seemed to have a problem with the Wonder Woman movie. Women loved it. Fans loved it. Fanboys loved it.
The original Wonder Woman movie. Yeah,
the first
one
in 2017. Yeah,
right.
That was
Nobody
great.
had a problem with it. Nobody had a problem with it. I mean, and the irony is, even in the conversations that we're having now about the sequel, some of them are more about this female stuff, but a lot of them are not. And as it is, they already have a third one greenlit. So it's like, you know, I get it. I want to see more. I do want to see more women doing certain things, but yeah, it's. I don't know.
Yeah, but the likelihood of that might still be in the. I don't want to say the distant future, but I think it's going to be a little ways off yet.
Well, no, but we're seeing some of it now. Like Patty,
we're seeing it now.
We're seeing it now. Patty Jenkins. One of the reasons why there's a question about when the third Wonder Woman movie is going to happen is Patty Jenkins is doing this frickin' Star Wars movie.
Okay. All right. So she's off to another project, and therefore that whole situation is kind of sitting on pause right now. Is that what that is?
Well, I don't know if it's a pause, but the point being is, Star Wars has never had a female producer director ever.
Which is going to be a very interesting take because when you got to, and
it's all going to be about Rogue Squadron,
right?
So
it'll be a one-off story, yeah.
Okay, so here we're going to go into a different direction of the Star Wars world.
Actually, that's an interesting point, Mike. I don't know if it's a one-off story.
I
don't know. In fairness, it depends on what time frame you're setting it in.
Yeah, because the only time they bring up Rogue Squadron, I think was in Empire with the speeders, the snow speeders, where Rogue Group use their harpoons and tow cables, and that's where we mention Rogue Squadron. You don't hear any of them in Episode 4 or Jedi.
Interesting.
Well, here's the thing. I know Red Squadron becomes Rogue Squadron.
Okay.
And Rogue Squadron is a popular.
Wedge was Red Leader in Jedi.
Right, and Wedge is the commander of Rogue Squadron.
Okay. I think you know what? There was a video game, right?
Right, that's where that
Rogue
comes
Squadron.
From. And there was a really popular, honestly, Dark Horse was doing a really popular comic for Rogue Squadron where, Wedge Antilles is the lead character.
Okay.
Where that was a really popular
I forgot
comic.
about those PlayStation Star Wars games. I remember playing Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, back in the, or the early ones.
Yeah.
Like the early PC games back in the 90s and stuff.
I remember.
Yeah, where it was all about Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
So no, there's a lot of history for Rogue Squadron that people are aware of. Wedge Antilles is considered the character. It's like you've got your main characters, you kind of got Lando, and then you got Wedge.
Uh-huh.
Or he's like
Reggie's kind of right there.
second tier.
Yeah, but he's like in the team picture in the back, like
right,
like
he's
waving,
present.
going, "Oh, I'm here, I'm here," you know.
Yeah.
Because he's in enough of the movies in those three where it's like, okay, he's continually there.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got enough of a connection with the main characters that he's considered, you know, to Star Wars fans, he's considered high level canon.
Yep.
You know, especially considering the fact that he founds Rogue Squadron with Luke Skywalker.
Ah, I see.
So there's that. But yeah, Patty Jenkins is doing that project. And the question is, to me, is how is that back in the day? Is that current?
Yeah, we'll find out when.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
we don't know.
Find out
we'll
when
find
it's
out.
released, and then we'll all know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll know probably a little bit sooner than that, probably. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we have anything else, or can we wrap it up?
I don't know. Do we have to wrap it? Oh, wow, I didn't realize what time it was. Holy.
Ivan, you spinning this weekend?
I'm spinning. Let's see. Okay. As of this taping, but you know that's for another day. But yeah, I will be on Friday. Okay. I will be spinning at the Blues and Jazz page on Facebook,
Friday,
but I'm going to be on Twitch.
On 6th. 8th. It'll be 8th.
Okay, so I will be on the 8th, Elvis Presley birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And, let's see, what else? Then I also have, my, Super Sunday spinning wheel session on Sunday, which, I'll be doing that as well. So if, you're looking for all of that information, I have left Facebook as far as performing anything further as far as like sets. So everything is now gone to Twitch. So go to my Facebook or catch the link on the Squares of the Roundtable page, and that's where you'll find me always now at Twitch. And I will be on Friday the 8th, and I will be on again on the 11th. No, on the 10th, and I can count on the 10th on Sunday. So okay. Yeah, Friday and Sunday I'll be on.
Yeah.
On the Google, if you Google it and everything, or I'll just leave the link on Squares of the Round Table, or you can go to my Facebook page with Ivan Rivera in parentheses Jivan, Jivan, Ivan, Ivan.
Jeff, you got anything going on this weekend?
Football.
Oh yeah, the playoffs this weekend. Yeah.
I think I am doing.
Are you going to put your stimulus check?
Yeah, I did get my stimulus. I got my stimulus.
He said, "Are you going to wager some of that this weekend?"
No. No.
Seeing as sports betting is legal in Illinois, so.
Yeah, just because it's legal doesn't mean I'm a dumbass. So I'm going to do it. That way I can complain about it later when I should have done it.
DraftKings book, your odds, one to pay $1 and get $100.
Well, they got all kinds of crazy betting too that you can do, and there's all kinds of weird.
The DraftKings book. Yeah, it's kind of wild.
They
give you the
$500. You can win $500 if what's his name ties his shoe with his left hand. Some weird
$50
shit like
a Smales kid picks his nose.
Exactly.
Any public speaking events this weekend, you said?
I might be doing one on Saturday night at what's called the Cocoon. And
the Cocoon sounds sexy.
It's not. But I might be there. I might do that this weekend on Saturday night, and I'll probably be at Windy City Professional Speakers on Sunday night. I don't know if I'm going to speak. Yeah, I may need to start doing some video again, too, here in a little bit. But I do have some work to do. I am qualified to the next rounds for a couple of speech contests and Toastmasters, cool. And so I got some work to do.
Wonderfulness. How about you, Mike?
Nope, nothing. Taking down all my Christmas decorations. That'll be my weekend.
He leads such an exciting life. Where can they find us, Mike?
We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe. You know when they got new content. Of course, follow us on Facebook. That's where you get all the crazy news stories for our show later in the week, Squares of the Round Table. That's this one. The other one is News of the Squared. That's the other thing, our side gig, our side hustle. Of course, download the show on our usual podcast hosting platforms, Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. Email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. You can find Jeff on Steinamite Productions on Facebook and YouTube. Ivan's on Twitter. Java and Ivan is Twitch, and he's on Spinning Wheel on Facebook. And I guess that'll do for episode 130 of
130 into the new year. Yay! I'm excited. I'm excited, boys.
It's not 1:30. It's only 10 o'clock. All right. Have a good week. Take care, folks.
Peace.